This is That's What She Said. My name is Beth Kelling, and I'm going to talk about my family's company, Sherman Buildings, and also one of my favorite topics, leadership. Being in business with my dad, brothers, and nephews in a male-dominated industry has taught me new ways to show up and speak up. It has sharpened my voice and strengthened my purpose. There's nothing like building something real with the people that you love. In 50 years, we haven't heard of a single one of our buildings go down, because at Sherman, we don't just talk about erections. We make them last forever. Hi, Jess.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. You're actually the first woman to come on That's What She Said.
Oh, wow.
So you had graduation yesterday for your son. How did that go?
It went really well. There was 130 kids, actually, so I thought it was going to be a lot longer, but it took about an hour and 15 minutes to get everything done. But it went really good. I didn't cry. That was the main part.
Yeah, that's good. And so now I'm planning the graduation parties.
Yes, that's stressful, but getting there. It's pretty close.
Yeah, good. Okay, so what do you do here at Sherman?
I am in sales right now. Right now, I'm prospecting, but I'm also moving forward a little bit. I'm learning the elevation and the quick bids and contracts and all that stuff. So
Fun. What did you start off doing?
Here at Sherman,
Yep.
started off doing overhead doors.
And did you like that more?
I did like it more. I shouldn't say more. I like both of them pretty equal. It was kind of a struggle at first to go to the office just because I'm an outdoors person. I like to be outside. And I also like to see that finished product when I'm done. But it's a lot better now, so.
Yeah, you've explained it before how when you show up, it's just a hole in the building, and by the time you leave, it's covered up with the door.
Yes, I love that part. That's my favorite.
And you were working with your husband. What was that like?
I actually loved it. I did. And I know a lot of people have like their own opinion that husband and wife shouldn't work together, or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, but we have really good communication, and he taught me a lot and super fast. Like he was a good leader, I thought. So I loved it.
How did your communication change as a couple?
As a couple, I don't think that it ever has. I know we just kind of kept work, and home. So that was kind of the only difference, but we worked together before here. We used to work on trailers together. So it was when we were at work, we still had the communication between each other, but when we're at home, we have communication as well. And I think that's a very strong thing to have, so.
Yeah, super important. Well, you always looked so happy.
I am 100%.
Yeah, like in the morning meetings, when you'd show up together, I just would see that, yeah, you were always in a great mood. And I mean, you were a strong leader right away. As soon as you started coming to the morning meetings, you spoke up right away. You would offer to do presentations. Where did all of that come from?
So in all honesty, for presentations, that was more Mazer and Joe asking me or telling me I was going to do it. But I don't really think I'm a perfect speaker, but just being outspoken, I guess. I don't have an issue of saying how I feel or anything like that, and I just got it to where I can pretty much do anything for a presentation or anything like that. Communication skills, I guess, has been a big thing, and I learned that. Unfortunately, I guess I'd have to say now that I'm this old, but from Girl Scouts a lot.
Yeah.
So, you learn leadership skills and all that stuff with that too, so.
And you learn the fear of walking up to people and asking them for, for trading money for cookies. And yeah, so that's like builds bravery right away.
Right.
Yeah, so you've always been heavily involved in Girl Scouts?
I was until, I don't even remember what age I was when I stopped doing Girl Scouts. I'd say we're probably in my teens. But yeah, my mom was my leader, so.
And do you have any daughters?
I do have one daughter.
Is she in it?
No. She's complete opposite of what I was when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Cool. So what was it like physically hanging the overhead doors?
When I first started, I was actually really scared. I know Joe, my husband, he had asked me for years to come and work with him. And finally I just said that I would do it. And I was super scared because I was nervous. I'm a girl. Like, am I going to be able to lift them? They're heavy,
Yeah.
But I think it helped a lot with him being so encouraging and just like if you would ask him, he would say, I can do anything. But, just having that support,
Yeah.
100%. So it didn't make me as nervous, but it was hard at first, but it got there.
So what have you learned about yourself now being in this like salesy position?
Being in the sales position, I have learned that you kind of have to take the time to think about what you're doing, which, I mean, you have to in general. But with this, you do have different things. Like we were talking before, you have the elevation, you have the contracts, you have the quick bids, all that stuff. I haven't learned all of that stuff yet, but to actually sit and think on everything that you're doing, you just want to make sure that you're doing it correctly. Because if you do make a mistake, that could be a mistake on that building that's going to be built. So for me, it's just, I don't know.
Yes. Are you a fast-paced person? So it's like you want to see things done right away. Now when there's so many steps, it's like...
I am, but I'm not. I mean, I guess I like to take the steps. So, but I like to be fast-paced with the steps a little bit too, but I like to always double-check what I'm doing to make sure it's right.
Yeah. Awesome. So I find you to be so good at being direct yet approachable. How do you find the balance to do that?
I really don't know. I couldn't give you an answer with that. That's how I've always been. I mean, my mom even says it all the time, she's like, sometimes I feel like that I say too much, but I don't. But I like the fact that I can say what I want and actually hear like a response from someone. I guess for learning a balance there, because then I can hear other people's opinions to see, if it's something that I need to change or something like that, like I can do that. But I'm not really an argumentative person or anything, but I always have a smile on my face.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I appreciated your communication right away because you're just so clear, and like you make eye contact and you make sure that people know what you're saying before you end the conversation. And I think that is just one of the strongest leadership skills that somebody could have. So,
well, thanks.
It's good. What does a good day at work look like for you?
A good day at work, I guess, to come here, and I'm a very organized person. If you would come up to my desk, you'd see like I have stuff written in blue. I have stuff written like I'm color coordinated, and to have a list and me come here knowing I have that list and I can get that done by the time I leave, or most of it done, that's a good day to work for me.
Yeah, awesome. I like being that organized too.
Right.
How do you unwind after a tough day at work?
I guess not just a tough day, but any day. Really, for me, I go home and me and my husband will sit on the chairs outside or something and just talk. We talk about our days. No matter if, like, even when I was doing overhead doors with him, I mean, we could still talk. And for me, that's a huge thing. He makes me calm. He makes me the person I am, I think. So.
That's awesome. What's something that you think women would like to know about working in a construction industry?
I honestly would have to say they can do it, really. I mean, it may seem, like when I started, it may seem scary, it may seem hard, but you can do it. If it's a weight or something like that, like you're afraid to lift something or anything, you can always find a way around it, but women can do it. They can do the same thing guys can.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I love would you rather questions. Okay. Would you rather have to install an overhead garage door wearing oven mitts, or every time you made a sale have to break out in song in front of the customer?
I would rather break out in song. 100%. I know what it's like to wear gloves doing the doors. So I would rather break out in song.
Yeah, like pretty much impossible.
It's not impossible, but it depends on the weather too outside. It really does. But yep, definitely would rather sing.
Well, that shows how much confidence you do have that you can break out in song in front of the customers. That I'd be like, I'll stay there for a month and hang the overhead door.
Right. I mean, it may not be good, but I'd rather do that.
Well, hopefully never have to do either one.
No.
So also, I just feel like when you walk into a room, Jess, you have such high energy, such positive. Is that a conscious thing you do, or is that just natural?
I honestly think it's just natural, because if you would ask me of self-confidence or anything, I honestly would tell you I don't feel I have any. But the self-confidence that I do have, I've gotten from my husband and from my family, because they always have my back,
Yeah.
but I don't see it. They do. I don't. I'm glad to hear other people see it, but I think it's just comes naturally, I guess.
Okay. So we don't learn much when things go right. Can you think of a time when something went wrong and you were glad that it happened because you learned so much?
Yes, I actually can. And I actually talked about this with Joe. So Joe and I went to do a door, and I think it was in McGregor. And it was when it had first started snowing and everything. It was my first bigger door with just him and I, and the first one that had a glass panel. And of course, glass panels, second panel down. And I was super nervous with it because of the weight and everything, but it also went so wrong because with doing a door, you're protected by some of the elements, but having that opening that day, and it was super cold, and it was like a blizzard up there. So we had snow coming in and everything. So you have that pushing on the panel, and I was so afraid to do it because I felt like that panel was going to knock me over. But then trying to even hang on to it with the snow coming in, it was super slippery and everything. So everything that could go wrong on my first time doing a window section on a bigger door went wrong. But when it got up there, I was so happy. And I mean, Joe was so proud of me, and I even told Mazer when we got back, I'm like, I told you that if that's going before me. So you might have had a call, but you didn't. We got it done. So, I mean, it's a good thing to learn to where you kind of can accumulate to that stuff. Like with the wind and everything, you can kind of watch. So, like I said, everything went wrong, but it got done and it looked great. So,
And then it feels even better to more accomplished.
Yes.
Like we put in all this effort and it's a beautiful door
right,
and it's working good.
100%.
Yeah. I forgot to look it up, but do you remember what Sherman you won last year for Christmas?
I do not.
Okay.
I know
that's
I
my bad.
watched the one with Andy too, and you had asked him, and I'm like, oh, I should have looked it up, but I didn't.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. Do you think that there will ever be a time that pull sheds are no longer needed?
I don't think so. I really don't. Just for the fact of, you can have smaller ones, you can have huge ones, commercial buildings, whatever. But I think they're always going to be needed because you always have something that you want to store or have your business in. So I don't think that there won't be.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to share?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being the first woman. You will always go down in history as the first woman, and That's What She Said.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening in on That's What She Said. If you are as passionate about leadership as I am, I would love to hear from you. Please go to my website at that'swhatsheshed.live to share feedback, ideas, and start the conversation of coming on the show.